If someone told you that a single drop of blood could change your entire destiny, would you believe it? Tonight I'm going to take you into a story where science, fate, and love collide in the most unpredictable way. It all started on a stormy night in Boston General Hospital, where a young nurse named Emily Carter faced an impossible decision, denied her own blood to save an unconscious stranger, a man whose name she didn't even know. But what she couldn't imagine was that inside that simple act of kindness, her future was already being rewritten, because that man wasn't just anyone. He was Ryan Whitmore, a hidden billionaire with a shattered past, and the blood that now flowed through his veins would do far more than keep him alive. It would awaken memories, memories that weren't even his. It would ignite feelings that science couldn't explain, and it would tie two souls together in ways that defied everything they thought they knew about themselves. But when secrets unravel and lies come crashing down, one question remains: can a love born from blood survive the truth? Stay with us, because what happens next will leave you breathless. The piercing alarms of the ICU shattered the silence of Boston General Hospital. He's crashing. We need O-negative blood now. Dr. Nathan Monroe barked, sweat trickling down his forehead. Emily Carter, exhausted after a brutal 12-hour shift, froze when she saw the man lying unconscious on the gurney. A stranger brought in by helicopter. His chest rose and fell erratically, fighting a losing battle. Is this how a life ends, she thought. Blood banks nearly dry. Masha, cried Isabella Hayes, head of hematology, her voice almost breaking. Emily checked the clock, 11:42 p.m. She should have been home hours ago, asleep in her tiny apartment, preparing for another long day. But something gripped her heart, something more powerful than fatigue. I'm O-negative, Emily said, stepping forward, rolling up her sleeve before anyone could protest. Emily, you just finished a double shift. Carmen Mitchell, her supervisor, whispered urgently. You're not strong enough. If I don't do it, he won't survive. Emily said, her voice steady, even as her hands trembled. As they inserted the needle into her vein, Emily locked eyes with the pale, still face of the stranger. Who was he? Why did she feel as if saving him was more than just duty? Had fate just placed her in front of someone who would change everything? Minutes later, her blood traveled through a thin, transparent tube into the stranger's body, vibrant red, defiant against death. You're going to make it, she whispered. You have to. But deep down, Emily felt something stirring, a strange electric connection she couldn't explain. Have you ever felt drawn to someone you didn't even know? Do you believe that two souls can recognize each other before their minds even catch up? Meanwhile, just outside the emergency doors, Lucas Taylor paced like a caged lion. He was the personal assistant to Ryan Whitmore, one of the wealthiest and most reclusive real estate magnates in all of Boston. Ryan had been inspecting the final phase of his ambitious riverfront project when a scaffolding collapse had crushed his car. And now he was fighting for his life inside a hospital, saved not by his millions but by the sacrifice of a young nurse who didn't even know his name. Inside, Emily began to sway. She had donated more blood than medical guidelines allowed, a reckless, dangerous act. But she refused to stop until the monitors stopped screaming. Then it happened. The stranger's breathing deepened. The erratic heartbeat steadied. Is it working? Emily thought desperately, blinking away the dizziness clouding her vision. Across the room, Isabella rushed to disconnect her. You've done enough, she snapped, though her tone was thick with gratitude. But as Emily's blood retreated from the stranger's body, something unseen lingered. A current, a bridge between two lives that had no reason to be intertwined except by fate. That night, back in her small, dimly lit apartment, Emily stared out the window into the dark city. In the distance beyond the skyline, her father slept fitfully in his bed, battling heart failure, relying on medications Emily could barely afford. And her sister Lily dreamed of one day becoming a doctor, a dream slipping farther away with every unpaid tuition notice. Life was a constant fight, and tonight Emily had fought for someone else's life, not knowing why it had felt so. Personal, in the sterile quiet of a penthouse across town, Ryan Whitmore tossed and turned on silk sheets, a fine sheen of sweat on his brow. Dreams assaulted him, a little girl with pigtails crying beside a hospital bed, a worn-out pair of sneakers running through city streets, a hand reaching out in the darkness, desperately searching for hope. None of these memories were his, or were they? 3 weeks later, Ryan would bolt upright in bed, heart pounding those dreams again. More vivid now, more invasive, more real. "What the hell is happening to me?" he muttered under his breath. The man who had built his empire on logic, strategy, and ruthlessness was now plagued by emotions and images that didn't belong to him. And one thing was certain: he had to find her. The woman who had saved his life and somehow stolen pieces of his soul in the process. But how do you track down a miracle when you don't even know her name? Before we dive deeper into the incredible twists that follow, I want to pause and thank you for your patience. I'm sorry for interrupting the story right here, but we'll continue shortly. Meanwhile, let me ask you, have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to a complete stranger? And if you had the chance to save a life, knowing it might change yours forever, would you take it? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious. And by the way, where are you watching from today? Drop your country or city down in the comments, and don't forget to like and heart this video if you're enjoying the journey so far. Ryan Whitmore couldn't shake the dreams. Each night they returned, growing sharper, more real. The feel of a worn leather backpack over a thin shoulder, the smell of hospital-grade soap clinging to trembling hands, the taste of cinnamon coffee, though he had never once ordered it in his life. Was he losing his mind, or was he remembering someone else's life? "Ryan, you're scaring me," said Lucas, his assistant setting down a tray of untouched breakfast. "I need to find her." Ryan said, his voice low, almost haunted. "The woman who gave me her blood? But the hospital records are sealed. It's confidential." Ryan leaned forward, his gaze intense. "Everyone leaves a footprint. Everyone." Meanwhile, across the city, Emily Carter was fighting a different kind of battle. The board of directors at Boston General had just announced a devastating decision. The hospital's charity clinic, the lifeline for hundreds of families, would be shut down and replaced by a private cosmetic surgery wing. Emily stood frozen in the hallway, surrounded by whispers of resignation. Was this what her sacrifices had come down to? Saving one life while hundreds more would be abandoned? Have you ever felt like everything you fought for was slipping through your fingers? What would you do if you knew the clock was ticking, not just for you, but for everyone depending on you? That night, exhausted and angry, Emily walked home through the rain. She passed by the small pharmacy where she picked up her father's heart medication, the bill climbing higher every month. She wondered, not for the first time, if miracles only existed for other people. But fate was already moving. Ryan, true to his promise, had launched his search, hiring private investigators, scouring hospital rosters, and visiting the blood bank under a false name. Then one crisp morning, a breakthrough. "Emily Carter," Lucas whispered, holding out the file. "Nurse O negative, donated blood. The night you were admitted." Ryan stared at the photo clipped to the top of the file. Her, the woman from his dreams. The woman whose memories now tangled with his own. He felt a rush of emotions he didn't know how to name. Gratitude, awe, guilt, and something far more dangerous, hope. But how could he approach her? Would she see him as just another wealthy man playing savior? Or worse, would she discover the truth about the strange connection between them and run? Ryan decided to risk everything. The next morning he walked into Sweet Haven, the cozy bakery Emily visited every day before her shift. He spotted her immediately, curled up with a steaming coffee and a battered old novel, her hair falling in loose waves around her tired face. He forced himself to stay casual. "Excuse me," he said, flashing a disarming smile. "Mind if I borrow the sugar?" Emily looked up, startled, and for a second, something flickered in her eyes. Recognition, or just polite confusion. "Sure," she said, sliding the sugar bowl toward him. "Thanks, I'm Ryan," he added, offering his hand. "Emily," she replied, her hand briefly touching his, and a jolt of electricity zipped up his arm. Did she feel it too? Over the next few days, Ryan kept their encounters light and unassuming. Coffee at Sweet Haven, accidental run-ins at the hospital's lobby. Each time, Emily found herself relaxing, drawn to the stranger, with kind eyes and a laugh that somehow knew when to break her tension. But there were moments, small, strange moments, when Ryan said something that made her stop cold. Like when he knew exactly how she liked her cinnamon coffee without asking, or when he described a childhood memory that sounded eerily familiar but wasn't his. Could there be an explanation for this? Or was she reading too much into coincidences born from exhaustion? One Sunday afternoon, Emily invited Ryan to her modest home for dinner. Her father, Daniel Carter, opened the door with a warm, cautious smile. And Lily, her younger sister, launched into animated chatter about her dreams of medical school. As they ate, Ryan felt a strange déjà vu. He knew the creak of the kitchen floor, the uneven legs of the dining table. How? At one point, as Emily ladled stew into his bowl, he said softly, "Left side first, right." She froze. That was something her late mother always insisted, a superstition from childhood. How could a man she just met know? That the room grew tense, unspoken questions thick in the air. Before Emily could confront him, the moment was broken by a call from the hospital. An emergency. She had to leave immediately. Ryan stood alone in the kitchen, heart pounding. He knew he couldn't keep lying much longer. The truth about their connection was too strange, too deep to hide forever. But when would be the right time? And would she ever forgive him once she learned the truth? Before we continue, I'm sorry to interrupt the story right here. We'll dive into the explosive next chapter in just a moment. But first, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever felt that someone you just met already knew you in a way no one else did? What would you do if you discovered a stranger was carrying your memories inside them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also, which country are you watching from today? Please remember to like and heart this video. If you're enjoying the story so far, it truly means a lot. The night the truth unraveled, the rain came down like a sheet of glass shattering against the world. Emily stormed out of the gala, her heart pounding, her mind racing. Behind her, Ryan chased desperately, his expensive shoes slipping on the wet pavement. "Emily, wait!" he called out, but she spun around, eyes blazing. "You lied to me!" she shouted over the roar of the storm. "All this time you were him, the millionaire, the man whose blood is inside me." Ryan's voice broke with regret. "Yes, but it wasn't a game to me. It never was, from the moment you saved me. I wasn't just living my life anymore. I was carrying pieces of yours." Emily shook her head, overwhelmed. "How am I supposed to believe you? How do I know this isn't just another rich man's story to get what he wants?" A flash of thunder split the sky, and in that raw moment, a question lingered. Would you trust someone who had deceived you, if your heart already knew they were telling the truth? Before Emily could decide, a nurse from the hospital sprinted through the rain, shouting urgently, "Miss Carter, it's Ryan. His condition is deteriorating rapidly. His body is rejecting the blood. He needs you." Now, Emily's heart stopped. Despite everything, would she walk away from him now? Inside the hospital, Ryan lay pale and motionless, wires and tubes crisscrossing his body. Machines beeped in frantic rhythms. His life was slipping through her fingers. The doctors explained in hurried tones Ryan's body had developed an extraordinary cellular dependency on her blood, a phenomenon never before seen, as if their cells recognized each other, calling out across the void. Emily barely heard them. All she knew was that the man lying there, the man who had lied, yes, but had also loved her, quietly, fiercely, imperfectly, was dying. "I need to donate," she whispered, rolling up her sleeve. As her blood began flowing into him once more, Emily closed her eyes. Memories flooded her mind, some hers, some his. Dreams of starry nights, of lonely boardrooms, of whispered hopes. Could it be that what they shared went deeper than betrayal, deeper than blood? As the transfusion continued, Ryan stirred his fingers, twitching weakly. When his eyes finally opened, they met hers, raw, vulnerable, full of unshed tears. "You came back," he rasped. "I had to," she whispered. "I couldn't let you go." In that fragile moment, something unspoken passed between them, something that no apology or confession could ever explain fully. Have you ever forgiven someone not because they deserved it, but because your heart refused to let them go? If you were Emily, would you risk trusting again, or would you protect your heart at all costs? Weeks passed, Ryan recovered slowly, and with each day, Emily visited sometimes with words, sometimes in silence. The distance between them closed inch by inch, bridged by shared glances, hesitant smiles, unspoken truths. One spring evening, standing under the cherry blossoms outside the hospital, Ryan took a trembling breath. "I bought the hospital to save it, Emily. Not for business, not for pride. For you, for the people you fight for." Tears welled up in her eyes, and for the first time she allowed herself to believe. He wasn't perfect. He had made mistakes. But real love, is rarely born in perfection. It is built breath by breath, through forgiveness, through understanding, through the stubborn refusal to give up on each other. 6 months later, the new Hope Medical Center opened its doors with Emily as director of nursing and Ryan quietly funding scholarship programs, community outreach, and free clinics. One evening after a long day of work, they stood together on the hospital's rooftop, overlooking the city lights. Ryan pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. "I don't have the right words," he said, voice shaking, "but I have this and a lifetime to prove them." He opened the box to reveal a simple gold ring engraved inside with a single word, "Home." Emily gasped, a smile breaking through the tears on her face. "No contracts, no secrets, just us," Ryan whispered, and as the stars blinked to life above them, she whispered back, "Yes." Because sometimes the greatest miracles are not found in the blood we share, but in the lives we choose to build together. Before we end tonight's story, I'm truly sorry for the little break in the flow, but thank you for staying with me. Now I have 2 questions for you. Have you ever believed that destiny could tie 2 strangers together in ways beyond logic? And if you were, Emily, would you have forgiven Ryan or walked away forever? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below and tell me, are you watching from the US, Europe, or somewhere else? And if this story touched you even a little, please don't forget to like, heart, and share the video with others who love emotional stories. If you enjoyed this journey, comment no 3 below. If it was okay, comment no 2. And if you think it could be even better, leave a no 1. Your feedback truly helps me grow. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon with another unforgettable story.